What's going on? What's going on, guys? Shout out to everybody that's here. Good morning to everybody that's listening during the AM. I am your host, Jaye Black, and this is the first edition of JDB in the Morning. This is the pilot episode. I'm seeing how this works and seeing if this is something that I plan to do long term. So we're going to see how this works. Things are going to change, the looks, certain things, certain aspects of it. But this is just the first episode just to see how things work and operate, all right? Of course, I am your host, Jaye Black, all right? Salute to everybody that's here. Make sure that y'all like this particular episode. Shout out to the moderators and the members and the people that's in the chat that's going to be listening, even the people that's going to be commenting, all right? And shout out to everybody that has been donating. Shout out to everybody that has joined the Patreon. We're eking closer to 100. So if you want to check out the exclusive content that I have been putting on that platform, make sure that you go over to Patreon. I got the link in the description box. And I'll probably have in the comment in the chat room too. In the comment section too. And go over there and join. All right. I'm putting a lot of good content over there, and I really hope, you go over there and watch it. Overwork, but anyway, I got a lot of topics I'm going to speak about, but the main topic is going to be this article I came across about why Kenyan men are boycotting marriage. I randomly came across this article from, I believe, standardmedia.co.ke. And they're talking about why Kenyan men are boycotting marriages. Now, I've made my fair share of commentary on marriages, right? On relationships. Why I feel like you don't really need marriage anymore. You really don't. The way the mindset of women are today, there's really no necessary need for marriage. If you look at it, there really is no necessary need for it. And we're definitely going to get into that. So, salute to everybody on this AM. I'm going to take a commercial break, and we're going to be right back at it. This is like a support break, right? Support break. I'm back. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. Hopefully you've settled in. All right. On this first episode. Let me just say this, right? I believe that when it comes to marriages these days, a lot of guys, for the most part, they just don't feel like it's worth it. Like they just don't feel that there's a point in signing a contract, whether you're in this country or another country. They just don't see a reason to go and sign a contract to say you care about somebody, you want to be with somebody. They just don't see the reason. And according to the article, it's men who initiate the relationship. But as far as marriage is concerned, they initiate the wanting to get married. Right? They initiate wanting to build that family structure. They're the ones that are in that position. No matter where you go, it's always going to be like that. It's always going to be like that. It's not going to be a situation where women have to say so when it comes to having relations, and they have to say so when it comes to relationships. You know, it's either or, and I would say more times it's women consenting to having relations, right? Now with men, and this is a worldwide thing, just like what the article has said, men are not trying to get married anymore. They don't see a point in getting married anymore. They see absolutely no reason to go and marry somebody that they know really, do they truly want to be in a relationship? Because you got to understand, the majority of marriages are ended by women. They're not ended by men. And you got men who are paying not only for the engagement ring, they pay for the wedding festivities. Whether it is, a lot of times they're paying for the wedding reception, the honeymoon. You want a house, right? Who's going to pay for that? It's like financially, the man is immediately the backbone of the situation. Until you have a woman who doesn't want to be married anymore, and she ends up taking what's left of your resources from you. Now, you will have a lot of women say that men shouldn't be scared to get married. I don't know if it's necessarily being scared. It's about being careful. Like, you really gain nothing in this society by trying to be somebody's husband. You just don't. You don't gain anything. There's nothing to be gained in that scenario. Now, we can look at these other countries, foreign countries, and say, hey, you know, they have stronger patriarchal structures. Of course, women want to get married. But that has been changing too. Feminism is being brought to these countries as well. You got a lot of self-hatred in these countries. And for the most part, the men are starting to realize that their women aren't the women that their mothers were or grandmothers were, right? That women have definitely changed. If you look at Instagram, a lot of those IG models, they're from the continent of Africa. You got a lot of them are actually from there. And they have become completely Americanized. And trust me, that's not something you would want as a foreigner, your wife or girlfriend to be westernized. Because we all see how women here who pretty much have it made, they don't realize how good they have it here, complaining all the time. I seen a story recently where there was a woman who didn't want to marry her cousin. This was in Turkey, right? So she ran off with her lover. They caught up to the woman. They did away with her, and they assaulted the lover. Yeah. And that's how certain things happen in certain countries. But a lot of these Western women want more and more and more. They're like a black hole. To the point to where men are going their own way. You got a lot of men who are just choosing to opt out of society. And what's crazy is that you still will have women go at those guys because they're like, hey, where are you going with those resources? Because that's what it's all about. And because they can't stand a guy just saying, you know what, I don't care if I get to sleep with you or not. I don't care about that. I don't want you around me. I don't want that energy around me. I don't want that type of mindset around me either. So you have a lot of these women who are westernized, and even the men in different countries are starting to see it and they don't like it. They're saying, you know what, I would rather not. That's why you're starting to see articles like this talking about Kenyan men boycotting marriage. That's not the only country. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of countries out there boycotting marriages that don't see no reason to be married. They see it as, you know what, it's really not that big of a deal. Because honestly, if you have women out here who truly cared about marriage, they would be marriage material. But they would rather be like all these other women and seek as much attention as possible to get as much, male energy around them as they possibly can get, to the point to where it ruins any relationship that they have. Because one, you're going to bring simps around you that's going to be sabotaging relationships every chance they get. Now, we are at a time where people have every tool at their disposal to really look at what's going on and really see the truth for what it is. And there are a lot of these guys from different countries, man. They're seeing what's going on with us. They're seeing how these women are acting. And they're seeing their women use those same behaviors. And those are not good behaviors. Not at all. There's a lot of things we can do as a people to do better. I just think that marriage is so outdated. You don't have to sign a contract to prove your love to nobody. You can be in a relationship. You can date whoever you want. But to say that you need to sign a contract just to show how much you care about somebody until that other person say, you know what, I don't really want to be with you like that anymore. Who wants to be in that situation? No man wants to be in that situation. No man wants to have to be in a situation where he's with a woman who's already looking for a way out, who is going to sabotage that relationship. Because you have a lot of females who are westernized, right? Americanized. They sabotage their relationship so much, right? Especially with melanated men. Melanated women and melanated men, you have a lot of these melanated women who sabotage relationships due to their own insecurities. Due to the fact that they don't like who they are. They've never had love from a man in their life, like a father. They've only gotten love from men that they're in relationships with. But even that's few far in between, right? You have a lot of these women who don't know what love is. And that's affecting a lot of these different countries. These women are growing up in an era where it's okay to talk crazy to your boyfriend or husband, disrespect him, right? Show absolutely no regard for his feelings whatsoever. Just go out there and do whatever it is that you want to do. And you not really care about how he feels about the situation. You just care about how you feel. What's going to make you feel good? What's going to be better for you? That's all you care about. You don't necessarily care about family. You don't really care about building something. It doesn't even have to be financial. It could be, building a family unit that's solid for the next generation. Something that your grandparents established. They don't have that mindset anymore. And men are starting to see that. Men are starting to see that, and they're waking up. And that is why you're starting to see a lot more articles this. First topic that we'll be discussing here, or first news in the news of the series of topics we're going to talk about this morning, is from brobible.com. It says dating app Bumble will ban users for being fat phobic. Yes. If you are fat phobic, you will not be allowed on Bumble. Okay, let's look at this effery. Let's see. It says Bumble, the dating app that was meant to flip the script and place the first move in the hands of women, has taken a major step forward into the waters of progress. The company announced they will ban users for the following reasons. Okay. According to the New York Post, the company announced Wednesday that the app will begin throwing out members caught using language that can be deemed fat-phobic, ableist, discriminative, colorist, phobic, and the other phobic. The new restrictions will apply to users' direct messages as well as those with profiles that openly discriminate against a different body types. Here we go, man. First off, once again, wasn't this app, according to them, they were utilizing it for women to have the upper hand. So who are they discussing? And who is on Bumble? Everybody's on Tinder or Match or Plenty of Fish. We're not on Bumble. Okay, maybe y'all are. I've never been on Bumble. But the fact that they can go and they can read your direct messages, they looking at all the stuff that's being sent in the DMs, what's being said. I mean, that's crazy. So you want to police how people speak to each other, what they like? Is that what we doing now? We're trying to look and see, hey, are they saying they don't like no fat girls? They say they don't like brunettes. They prefer light. Oh, no. You need to prefer what we want you to prefer. And we want you to prefer these type of women. Because I guarantee you, if you have people in their profile saying, I love BBWs only, I don't think that person is going to get banned. I don't. If they say, I want me a dark-skinned queen, I don't think they're going to get banned. But you going to ban somebody for having a preference? And I want y'all to understand, this is in regards to men. Especially when they talk about orientation. They're talking about men. They're not talking about women for the most part. Women can like what they want. But all of this is to try to make men prefer everything. I'm sorry. Men have preferences, just like women do. Well, let's get into it. Body shaming is not acceptable on or off the Bumble app. A statement from Bumble reads. That's because what they're doing is what they're gonna say is this: if a female catfishes you and you ghost her or make certain comments to her, she can go back to Bumble and say, hey, this person discriminated against me. Not understanding that female was not being 100% honest about how she looked. Let's see. The Bumble body shaming is not acceptable on or off the Bumble. I read that. For those who may not know, body shaming means forcing your opinion of a good body onto others. Y'all know what's interesting about this situation is that when you look at Instagram, right? Instagram, you got all these women in the gym. You got all these women putting up photos and videos of themselves in the gym, getting their body right, right? Who do you think they're doing it for? They're doing it because in their own way, they're looking to look better than the other woman. So why wouldn't a guy want to, if he's in shape? Because trust me, if that woman is in shape, she's going to want a man who's in shape. Why can't he have a preference? Why does he have to bend in what he likes to suit all these other people? Because there's a lot of single women out here. There's a lot of women getting curved. There's a lot of women who are getting ignored, and they're trying to stop that. They're trying to force women onto men that these guys don't want. But y'all claim that women have a right to their preference. Well, so do men. It's a noble idea, even if it goes against the entire unspoken use of dating apps, which is to be as superficial as humanly possible. Dating apps are people's way of playing God. No, yes, no. We have the power of judging someone's attractiveness in the palm of our hands. We relegate them to their most basic features. And just because Bumble now says you can't openly say you don't like fat people doesn't mean that users will stop thinking it. Yeah, like you can't force people to like what they don't like. That's going to make it's going to make things even worse. We don't need people dating people who they don't like. They feel like they're pressured into dating. That's going to make a toxic situation. So while it's obviously a nice thing for Bumble to say, it's another thing entirely to believe that humans will put their terrible, demeaning criteria for dating aside when considering the faces in front of them. Call me a cynic, but I suspect this move will hold as much water as their original mission of having the ladies take the first step. In my experience on the app, all that ever meant was that women would offer a bland hey, and then it was all on my shoulders again to be some magic wizard of charm and wit, which I wasn't, not even once. Best of luck there. Yeah, you're putting the power in the hands of the women, and those women are still going to take L's. This is not a good look whatsoever. This is another attempt to control what a man like and what a man doesn't like. And how does that end up at the end of the day? How does that end up going? You cannot force these guys to date what they don't want. If a guy prefers a woman who is petite, who's a blonde or a brunette, right? He could prefer her to be left-handed. You know, we have preferences. Men are entitled to having preferences. Your platform, Bumble, has put the quote-unquote power in the hands of the women, and those women are still making terrible choices. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? That even on a dating app, there are guys who are still not checking for a lot of these females. That's why when you go on these dating sites or dating apps, these women are doing the most to get the attention. You know why? Because most of the time they're getting ignored anyway. Because they're all looking for the same type of guys. And those guys already have enough women that they are getting messages from, right? And they're telling those, and you got women who are out of shape, who are clearly unattractive, still trying to talk to these guys, and these guys are not trying to talk to them. Another story is actually a very sad one. Apparently a 20-year-old young man, life was taken by the father of his girlfriend, right? This is a guy here, and we're going to discuss him further and how this situation was avoidable, but a lot of times you can't be too sure out here. Because a lot of these guys, man, they don't want their daughters around certain guys, or they don't want their daughters around guys, period. And they will take certain measures, and they will make certain things a reality that will ruin everybody in this situation. Now, I got a couple of different articles here. I got one from the NY Post and from the Daily Mail. But we're going to look at the one from the NY Post. A Washington State father is accused of taking the life of his daughter's boyfriend after finding the young man in her room, prosecutor said. Charles Heller was charged with second-degree murder Monday in a fatal 2019 shooting of 20-year-old Dustin Hunt after he discovered his daughter tried to sneak Hunt into her room. Prosecutors said that the 20-year-old Lauren Heller and her boyfriend had snuck into the family's home earlier that day without her parents' knowledge. These girls got to stop with the whole sneaking guys in there, because something tragic can happen. And that's what happened in this situation. I'm not here to point fingers. What I'm saying is certain events can come together that can make this thing worse than it really needed to be. All right, it says both Charles Heller and his wife told cops that they heard their daughter talking and laughing with someone. Heller then texted his daughter to say her guest needed to leave by 10:30 p.m., but she didn't respond and went outside as Hunt hid under the bed. Lauren Heller told authorities when Lauren Heller went back inside, she said she saw her father pointing the weapon at Hunt as he was trying to get dressed wearing only his underwear, she told detectives. Heller's finger was on the trigger the entire time he was pointing the weapon, prosecutors wrote in the charging documents. This point was important to Lauren and played a large role in her fear because her father, formerly in the military, has training in handling firearms and had taught her that you do not put your finger on the trigger unless you are prepared to shoot. Lauren Heller then put herself in between her boyfriend and the gun and telling her father to shoot her. Oh, jeez. She was really in love with this guy. He was going to open fire, prosecutor said. Hunt then pushed the weapon away from his girlfriend, causing her father to fall into the bed. Charles Heller later told detectives he shot Hunt in the shoulder and told his wife to call. Heller admitted, let me scroll down a little bit. Heller admitted to shooting Hunt and said he never thought about hitting him or using less lethal methods since he thought the 20-year-old was trying to choke him. Jeez. This was what I was waiting for, Hunt's mother, Lisa, wrote to the Seattle Times Monday. This charge means so much. I started to lose any type of hope for justice. I felt like it was slowly being forgotten about and brushed aside. What was interesting is that his girlfriend here put up this post here, and she talked about white privilege being real. And she felt like it played a role in this situation. We may never 100% know why what happened, right? But you got a female who was really in love with this guy, right? Made her go against her own father because she felt like she was in love with this guy. She probably was. I'm not saying she wasn't. But a lot of these young men, man, you got to be careful with your surroundings and where you're going, man, because a lot of times, man, these dudes, they don't want you around their daughters. And they will go through different measures in order to keep their daughters away from you. Now, his daughter brought up, Dustin Hunt, his girlfriend, brought up the whole white privilege thing is real. To me, she seems like one of these Caucasian females who, again, I mean, look at the home that she lives in. Look like she lives in a very nice neighborhood. One of these suburban, Caucasian females that wants to rebel against her parents, because I think that she's in this rebellious state, right? And you have a father who feels like he's giving her everything. He just wants her to listen to him, and she's not doing it. So you have those forces colliding. And who ends up losing? Dustin ends up losing his life, and Charles Heller loses freedom because I believe he was convicted. So I truly think that this should, I would say, wake up people in these situations with these girls or dating these guys. And understand, if your father doesn't like that guy, don't bring him around your house. Because things can go terribly wrong. And that's exactly what happened in this situation. This situation went horribly wrong. Let's talk about this. And we have to talk about this, man. I want to talk about Demi Moore. Some recent photos have emerged of her and her new face. Now, if you're not too familiar with Demi Moore, she's a longtime actress, and she was married to Bruce Willis. She got married to Ashton Kutcher, but the wall has definitely hit her. Let's just take a look at her before and after. Let's just see the differences, okay? Now, on the left, you can clearly see, yeah, that's Demi Moore, but on the right, like, who is that? Now, I don't know if she has anything going on, any ailments or anything. I just think the plastic surgery thing has gone way too far. You have a lot of these aging actresses that choose to continuously go under the knife for what I have no idea. I don't know if it's for a movie role or what's going on here, man. But she definitely looks a whole lot different than she ever has before. What is going on here? All right. But look at this article from news.com.ua. Actress Demi Moore walked her first runway this week with a catwalk cameo during Fendi's spring show at Paris Fashion Week. So they've had a Paris Fashion Week, huh? Let's see. Moore opened the show in a plunging off-the-shoulder jacket, wide leg trousers, along with a dramatic trailing earrings. But it was the Ghost and Indecent Proposals star's face, not the clothing, that made headlines around the world. Moore, who's 58, looked vastly different from just months earlier, with severe, pronounced cheekbones and a pursed pout. Let's see. So this is definitely recent. Let's see. Moore hasn't spoken publicly about her plastic surgery rumors, but the star has a reputation for being remarkably candid, giving jaw-dropping details about her personal life in her 2019 autobiography, Inside Out. All right. Moore detailed the failure of her 3 marriages to musician Freddie Moore, to actors Bruce Willis and Ashton Kutcher in the Warts and All memoir. Yeah, that's her way back. Way back. You know? That was some times ago. That's her when she was with Ashton Kutcher. But yeah, a lot has changed. A lot has definitely changed with Demi Moore, man. And again, man, these women get so hooked to plastic surgery. They get so hooked to going back and forth to the doctor to get their faces worked on, to get their bodies worked on, because they want to slow the aging process. There have been women to slow it. I mean, look at Angela Bassett. People try to say, well, she's had work done. I'm not going to say she's had work done. She has not claimed to have had any work done. So I'm going to go off of how she takes care of herself. A lot of times, it's how you take care of yourself. And unfortunately, too many of these women look at social media, they look at other women, and they feel the need to compete with those women to the point to where they will go and they will get all this work done. For what? Just to make yourself look even worse? Now, there are women who are able to get work done and you can't really tell, but a lot of times it's when you get that drastic work done, like her jawline and her cheekbones. When you get that extra work done is when people can see what's going on there, right? Now, Demi Moore was known for her looks. She was able to go from being the young, attractive actress to being the cougar MILF that was with Ashton Kutcher, who was toned and in shape on Charlie's Angels, to now she looked like she's aged even more. She looks like a great-grand. It's not a great-grand. She looks like a grand, like a granny. That's how she look. But again, people are going to say, well, maybe it was the angles. Let's go back up real quick. I mean, that's the same look. Even from a different side of her face, man. Whatever's going on, man, hopefully she's taking care of herself. But yeah, I think they need to stay away from getting all this work done. Another topic that I think that very interesting when I saw it, in my home state, there was a high school principal that decided to get another job in order to help the students at his school. Let me just say this. I don't know how I feel about this because obviously it's a guy who wants to do some good. There's nothing wrong with that. But my problem is that for so long, it's been browbeaten into us that a lot of these guys in the melanated community, a lot of these men don't do anything for the community. They're not stepping up. That's what you hear. They're not giving back. they're not trying. That's what you hear. I have never heard anything like this before. I've never heard no administrator, even a teacher, saying they're going to get. And let me just say this too about teachers. There's a lot of entitled teachers out here who are terrible teachers, by the way, who feel like they're entitled to act a certain way. They don't want to show up for work, seems like, anymore. They want to get paid to do nothing. They complain all the time, right? So I would say seeing a story like this is interesting, right? Because a lot of the teachers have not made themselves look good, especially recently. But as far as doing things for students, for teenagers or kids who are not mine, I do ultimately think that it is up to the parents. I think there's only so much that administrators can do. But he's a guy who clearly cares about his school. He cares about the students in his school, and he wants them to be successful. That's why I want these type of individuals in the school system to work, to be able to be successful in what they're doing. Not these lazy do nothing teachers who can't teach the children that they have every day. They don't care. They're just there to draw a paycheck. Then they complain about their pay, right? And it's sad that this is where we get to, right? Because I'm sure that he sees those students who show up in the newest Air Jordans, dressed fresh. Some of them got cars, right? They don't look destitute, but there are those that are, right? It's unfortunate because their parents or their mother, because they probably came from a single parent household, just ain't doing enough. This ain't doing enough. Let's see.
Looking for your perfect.
Okay. It was good. Nope. Well, I'm gonna play this while I talk. Now, honestly, I think that we need to set up fundraisers, foundations for things like this. I think that we should bring youth sports back. I think youth sports is something that young children could benefit from. Get them out of the house, get them out of their neighborhoods, get them into an environment of learning and growth and mentorship, because that's what a lot of these young males especially are lacking.
Thank you.
He has unlocked the spirit of giving.
Altruism that I hadn't seen in quite some time for the concern of the children in terms of the general population.
Henry Darby is the principal at North Charleston High School. He's also the community guardian angel.
A couple of years ago, I had two students who were females sleeping under the bridge. There was another situation where a former student of mine and her daughter, they were sleeping in their car. And another situation where one of my former students came and needed funds for her water and light bill.
Understanding the bigger picture, Mr. Darby took action this summer.
I was taught if your hands find something to do, do it. So I came to myself and said, perhaps I need to find another job in terms of part-time.
I don't know about that, man. Listen, man, I'm not trying to help. I'm not saying help. I'm not trying to take care of nobody else's responsibilities, because a lot of times you really don't know why they are homeless. Like, are they getting into fights with their mother or parents? Because I'm sure they would have somewhere to go, but a lot of times, especially when you're dealing with girls, they're rebellious, and they don't want to listen to their mother, whoever, right? Grandmother. I don't know if I would do that. I don't think I would do that. That's why I say that you need to have community organizations that can do things like this. But they don't have it anymore because a lot of these so-called revolutionaries, these so-called activists, don't do anything for those communities. They do nothing for those communities. Absolutely nothing. Right? And because they do absolutely nothing for the community, They want to look at the outside and say, hey, y'all need to do something for us. But y'all in the community, y'all ain't doing nothing. Y'all ain't starting no organizations to help underprivileged students. Where are the scholarships? Where are the sports programs? Where are the school supply, programs, right? They don't have that. What about let's get your mother off welfare programs? How about that? Right? They don't have that.
From 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., he stocks shelves at Walmart.
My very first night, someone
10 p.m. to 7 a.m.
yelled out, "Hey, Mr. Garvey, you work for Walmart. Aren't you the principal?" And it blew me out the water. So at that time, I said, that's it. I'll just do what I need.
He now donates his Walmart paychecks to those in need. His decision to stand and deliver has led to close to $100,000 in donations from all over the country.
I would be doing a disservice to Walmart if I were to quit now, because Walmart actually gave me an opportunity to work that I may help my students, and now that we have dollars, I just wouldn't want to take the money and run. Morally and ethically speaking, it would not be the right thing to do.
Yo, he's right about that. If he was one of these scheming type peoples, y'all know the ones that go get them a GoFundMe, get the money and go. They would take that money and go. So this guy is a genuinely good guy, man. Genuinely good guy, man. And he's the right principal for that school, man. And they've been able to get donations, which is good. But we need community organizations in those communities that can help this situation even more. That's what is needed, right? We need organizations that's going to be able to, in need, help the people in those communities. But we definitely need to get the women off welfare program. Absolutely. We definitely need to do that.
Principles of a principal have not gone unnoticed.
I appreciate everything that you're doing for the community.
Oh, my, thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. You're very kind. How you do?
I will say this though, man. It is weird seeing people just wearing masks, like in and out of places. It's like it's normal now. It's coming normal, and I hope that soon it can no longer be normal. But I mean, it's a good deed. He's bringing his sacrifice to go and work at Walmart has been able to bring in financial contributions, which is good. But he should not have to put the burden on his shoulders. Not at all. All right. This is probably going to be like the last one, but certainly not least. I got to talk about Halle Berry. Halle Berry is making some very weird comments because, again, these Holly weirdos, they have children and they want to import this weird ideology, which shows y'all why Halle Berry's relationships fail so much. Halle Berry's relationships fail so much because she considers herself an alpha female. I truly believe that. I don't think she respects men. Okay? I think she has a very dominating personality, and it just doesn't mesh with the men that she gets with. And what she's trying to impart to her son just shows you how these Holly weirdo women feel about men or masculinity. According to this People article, Halle Berry says she's challenging her 7-year-old son all the time to rethink gender stereotypes. If we want to have a future that's different, that is where it starts. See, this is what I'm talking about. We already got Joe Biden trying to add men into women's sports. I mean, it's almost as if women don't understand that you're making things worse for yourself. Not only you're making things worse for yourself because you're going to breed a different type of male that, for the most part, is not even going to be into women. 2, you're putting yourself in a situation where you're going to be pushed to the side. Because they're already trying to increase rights for men in wigs and dresses. So where do you think you fit into the equation? And women are a lot of these liberal-minded, Holly weirdo feminists really believe that none of this is going to fall back on them. They truly believe that they're not going to face blowback over the way that they are raising their children and the way that they are acting and the beliefs that they're trying to impart into their kids. Right? Let's go into the article. As a boy mom, Halle Berry is making sure her son grows up to challenge discrimination against women. While appearing on the virtual panel hosted by Hollywood Foreign Press Association as part of the Sundance Film Festival, the bruised director opened up about being a mother of 7-year-old son, Maceo Martinez, whom she shares with her ex-husband, Oliver. I'm pretty sure he appreciates that. I have a 7-year-old son, and I've realized what my job is in raising him. If we want to have a future that's different, that is where it starts. Berry, 54, said during the panel titled Women Breaking Barriers and Industry Shift. Wait a minute. Let me tell you. Well, how are women going to break barriers if you have the trans group that wants to be a part of your group? And their concerns are being listened to more than yours. You're going to have to share whatever ground that you make. You're going to have to share it with them. And that's what Halle doesn't understand. She thinks that this is only going to affect men. That's what they tell you. But that's not the case, Halle. It's going to affect you too. But y'all don't see that. This is why they are making sure that males can play female sports, Halle. Okay? And again, I told y'all, Halle doesn't respect men. She has a disdain towards them. You can tell a lot about a woman by how she raised her sons. And she's raising her son to wear heels. I'm pretty sure we've all seen any of you probably have seen that video that she posted, right? What woman would do that to for a woman that doesn't respect men or respect masculinity, which is why she's perpetually single, why no man wants to be around her, even if they, marry her. That ends quickly. She's in a situation where she's going to be alone. Berry, who's making her directorial debut at the Sundance with her MMA drama Bruise, was joined by HFPA members Elizabeth and Sylvia, as well as Robin, I'm going by first names only, Andrea, Sia, and Zendaya. This must be the panel. I guess it's the panel. Where are the masks? Let's see. You made me think of how many conversations I've had with him. Say since he turned 5 years old about the differences in boys and girls, and I see how he's taught to feel like he's superior at 5 than girls are, Berry said, addressing fellow actress Wright. The moment to continue, I've had to really break that down for him and give him a new perspective and challenge those thoughts and ask him to identify where that comes from and if he believes that or not, and challenge what he's subconsciously getting from somewhere. I can tell that because we're having those conversations, he's going to grow as a deep thinker on the subject. Your son is going to grow up wanting to be a woman because of you. And what Halle Berry doesn't get, which is why she can't keep a man, is that men, for the most part, build societies. Men have always built societies. Men will continue to build societies, Halle, whether you like it or not. A lot of those women on that panel, the opportunities that they have were given to them by men who built the infrastructure for you to be able to complain about masculinity. And they want to bring up this whole men are trying to be more superior to women. No, men are being men because we fight the battles, we do the protecting, we do the building. You reap those benefits. You wouldn't be saying this if you weren't so comfortable. But once things get uncomfortable, you're going to want those gender roles. I guarantee you. Now, let's see. He's going to be determined, not to just accept it. I keep challenging him all the time, like, well, why is that a girl color? Bear is also a mom of a daughter, Nyla, I think Nyla, from her previous relationship with ex Gabriel. All right. You see, yeah, I'm not gonna read any more of this BS. Halle Berry, you're a weirdo, and something's wrong with you. And I think a lot of people agree with that. And y'all know what's crazy is that because they're so comfortable, they feel like they're not gonna have to fight in any battles anymore. They're not gonna have to do their own protecting. They know that things are here, infrastructure wise, and they can do all the complaining now. But you gotta understand, if you raise a generation of weak, cowardly men, you're not going to have a country. You're not going to be comfortable. I don't care how much money you have, because you got the socialists that's coming for you in your wealth. And you're making it easier for them when you're out here trying to tell your son that you should identify as a female, basically. And she wonders why she cannot consistently keep nobody. This is her ideology. Look at like Charlize Theron, another one that can't keep a man, can't get a man, but got her son out here wearing dresses. Her adopted son, not her biological son, an adopted son, melanated son from the continent. This is why they can't keep a man. This is why they're asking the world, why can I get a man? It's because of your ideology. No man wants to deal with it. And that's you pretty much letting the mask slip. And that's exactly what Halle Berry and others are doing. Exactly what they're doing. So in closing, I appreciate everybody for tuning in to this morning live show. Shout out to everybody that's here. Make sure that you like the stream as you have come in and watched and listened. Hopefully y'all like this. Depending on the feedback, I may bring it back. I want this to become a daily thing. You can always send me topics at jblackllive@gmail.com, right? The link is in the description box. If there's topics you would like to see me do live, let me know. Follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to keep up with me. All right, this is going to be different. This will all be premiered. I don't want to do these morning shows live because a lot of times may not be the right time for me to go live early. You know, maybe it's more of an evening thing. You know, you got stuff going on. But salute to everybody. I appreciate y'all. Again, you can send me topics through email. You can send me topics through IG, Instagram. You can tag me on Twitter, or you can send me stuff. Well, I wouldn't say send me stuff on Facebook because I don't really look at my messages like that. But if you're on Twitter, on Instagram, you can still follow me on Facebook. I'd rather y'all like the Facebook page instead of sending me friend requests and stuff. But I mean, if you do that, that's fine. But yeah, you can tag me on Twitter. You can send me a message on IG and say, hey, this is a topic, or you can go to the email. Just follow those protocols. Everything will be cool. All right. Y'all have a good rest of your day, and I'll see y'all on the next one.